Hi! So if you're in a creative slump, or you're having a hard time coming up with ideas, or maybe you even have so many ideas that you just can't keep them straight, I have a solution for you. And I think you've probably used it before. It's the primary composition notebook, just like the ones that we used to use in elementary school. And I love it so much, I have 2 of them. This is what really got my creative juices flowing after a long period of not making any art. So I'm gonna first tell you some reasons why I think that this sketchbook format is so great, and then I'll do a little sketchbook tour. The first reason that I love these, and I think you probably will too, is they're really cheap. They're like $3 or $4. And I know that a bunch of us love buying fancy, nice sketchbooks, but personally, I end up never actually using them because I just feel so precious about them. What typically happens for me is that I'll save it for the perfect moment that never seems to come, or I'll start the first page and then that first page isn't good enough, and then I feel like I've ruined the book and I just kind of abandon it. Now, this is gonna sound kind of mean, but I just don't care about this sketchbook as much as my nice ones. Like, the cover is kind of ugly. It's really cheap. I don't know. I just don't feel the same pressure, which means that I don't feel bad ripping pages out. And I actually don't care about it so much that sometimes I don't even feel the need to rip out those bad pages, which I think is really good because it gives me freedom to do whatever I want and to make bad art in this sketchbook, which is what a sketchbook is all about. Okay, reason number 2 why I love this sketchbook so much is the structure. This is what it looks like on the inside. Blank on the top, intended for drawing, and lines on the bottom meant for writing. Of course, this is all just ink on paper, so these marks can be completely ignored and you can put whatever you want on the paper. I really like that this isn't a blank page because a blank page can be kind of intimidating. I do think that you should listen to the lines because it serves as kind of like a prompt or outline, and I just think that's a great way to start coming up with ideas and making art, because my ideas always start with writing, usually a list. A lot of times I will like have a random thought while I'm out and about and I put it in my notes app, and then if I find that note later and I like it, I'll transfer it to a notebook. So I'll make a picture to go along with it, and already I'm expanding on my idea. Because every page is like the same outline, after a few pages of doing this writing and drawing process, you start to get into a really good groove, and as you'll see when I do the sketchbook flip through, your ideas just kind of build on each other. I'll make a drawing or write something and I liked it, and so then I just do like a variation of it, and it just kind of keeps snowballing into more and more ideas. Okay, so let's get into text and image a little bit. I really like how with words it's easy to do a juxtaposition between what you're reading and what you're seeing, and it just makes for like an interesting drawing. If you take a comic, for example, you have your picture and your writing, but they don't repeat each other. When you're reading a comic book, you can't just go through and read all the words and ignore the pictures because it won't make sense. The words and the pictures rely on each other to tell the story. And if you are interested in making artwork that involves text and image, I have some book recommendations. Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud, classic comic book artist, and this was a textbook for a few of my classes at Art Center. So it just breaks down every single aspect of making a comic and what comics are. And even if you don't consider yourself a comic artist, like I don't really make comics, I love this book. I love these types of books that like break down something we're super familiar with and just explain like how and why it works. But it's not really obvious until you like think about all the moving parts of why it works, and then knowing that information, you can apply it to your own work. I hope I explained that well, but I really love this book and I highly recommend it. That one is the most like academic out of the sort. Then we have Best American Comics. This is like a collection of excerpts from graphic novels. This one is from 2019. Flipping through the pages, you see all the different styles that all the artists have and the way that they use text and image in such different ways. Then we have Why Art by Eleanor Davis. The back of this book says, "Why art? What is it? What is it for?" So if that sounds interesting to you, I would check it out. I also just love how compact and cute the size is, and the book itself, beautiful with these simple but really thoughtful illustrations. this book, Writing, and this is a reprint. So like the original came out in 1964, but this is a copy from 2015. It's a book made for kids just talking about what writing is. So it kind of goes along the same thing as Scott McCloud's comic book. Like, we're really familiar with writing, we use it every day, but thinking about what writing actually does, and especially this one, it's written in such a whimsical way to keep kids entertained and stuff. Well, first of all, the typography is so fun, and then there's also really beautiful illustrations, and I love the color palette, the like pink and orange. Oh, I really like this page. Those are my book ideas if you want to get more into this subject. And the other reason why I think that this format is so great is because it's kind of just natural to us. So I was an after-school elementary art teacher, and I taught like younger kids mostly. They were still learning to read and write. Like, a lot of them wanted to write words in their artwork, which I always thought was great. So they would write a sentence like, let's say someone wrote, "The girl was eating an apple," but then they would draw a picture with it. They naturally would add other elements because maybe the kids couldn't say it with words yet. They didn't know how to spell it, so they could draw it. They write, "The girl was eating an apple," and then there's a girl eating an apple, but the apple is on fire and there's like a dragon behind her. Just more information to the story. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that you all have the ability in you to tell stories. Like, we've been doing it from such a young age. I saw it in every single one of those kids. So yeah, just going back to the paper that we used in school, I feel like is great. So now let me show you inside of my sketchbooks, and I feel like all of the reasons why I love this sketchbook so much will really make more sense. Okay, so these are my two primary composition notebooks. I didn't get as far in this one, but this is the one that really got me through my creative block. So let's start with this one. I always like to do like a contact me page, but I really like the way that I did this one. I have this printer called Memo, and it prints like thermal photographs, but I really like the texture that it creates. I was really into like handwriting in this font at the time. This journal specifically, I feel like is very diary format. I never do well with keeping diaries because I'll just fill up multiple pages of every single thing that happened that day, and it's kind of meticulous to write and to look back on. So this type of book, if you want to use it as a diary, I think keeps things really interesting. A little car, that's my old car actually. This I overheard in a Ruby's. The person in the booth behind us said, "Coffee smells good, you don't normally smell it at this hour." It was like dinner time. Sometimes I find it helpful when I am out of ideas to make a list of things that I like or things that inspire me, so that's what I did here. I still like this stuff on this list, and I like the way I wrote it. I don't remember where I got this. I do remember not liking this drawing when I made it at the time, but now I think that this little arrangement is really sweet, and that's me. Yeah, I'm just not showing every page in here because this is kind of like from my sad girl era, so it's kind of personal and a little embarrassing. This one has a lot more drawings. All of the drawings in this book are made with this ink and a brush. So I started this notebook on the way from Santa Ana to Santa Barbara on the Amtrak train. This is really fun. This is a list of different establishments that I saw out the window on my trip, and I really like the assortment of them together because I feel like it kind of describes Southern California. And then I ended up putting these on a t-shirt with bleach. This I did on that same trip. We took the train at night. These are like the light patterns that I saw. See, like there's a tree. And then we were going to Solvang. In the house that we were staying at, there was this little ceramic cat that I loved because of all the textures on it. See, this is what I'm talking about. If you cover this up and you just see the cat drawing, that's so cute. But then this adds new context to the drawing. What? And then this is the last pencil drawing before we get into the ink drawings. Okay, and then it starts. This is like what the tone is like for the rest of the book. This is traffic, and then this is like things that you see in traffic. Sometimes you see people eating their sandwich while they're driving or picking their nose. Before we go any further, just listen. Oh my gosh, isn't that so nice? That's amazing. Okay. I had this idea of like just describing a picture without having anything there. So this drawing is kind of building on the idea I had here. And it just says bumper to bumper over and over again. How this is just two words repeated over and over, and it kind of stays making sense. This one, I have like a how things workbook. There was a little section in there about how typewriters work, and then I labeled the parts with my label maker, which I love. This is like the sentence that has every letter of the alphabet. The magic eye. This was another thing that was described in the book, but I'm not a huge fan of the drawings. And then I listed a bunch of desserts you can make with apples. Oh yeah, apple pie I have twice. This was like bow language to me. And then it's kind of like cursive. I liked the idea of like making language with pictures. Dog names. There's the dog. Scissors and a pattern. This was one of those ideas that you just have in your head and I had to put on paper. I just kept envisioning like a semi-truck that said challenge and it's like coming towards you and that's the challenge you have to defeat, kind of like in a video game or something. I did this drawing with like just the tip of this, no brush, which is always kind of fun to do because then you get big globs in some areas. Oh yeah, I did both of these at a cafe and I was having pumpkin spice latte. Pumpkin spice on ice. I don't really like this one. We'll skip it. My gums are annoyed. That's after I went to the dentist. Then I started getting really into castles. Inside the castle, you will find a shiny, special, sparkly secret jewel, a princess, of course, and most certainly probably some grapes. Come inside. The lore. It is unbelievable, but it is real. This is more bow language. Bow cars. This is like another bow car, but happy birthday, it's a present. This one I was thinking about like the lines of a road being a bow, and I actually made this design into a tote bag. So if you're interested in that, I still have some available. Just let me know. This is the same thing, but with ice cream. Magic. It's kind of a sweet memory I have in here. Oh, my boyfriend got me this fancy soap for my birthday. And he also got me a coffee grinder. So now I'm a coffee snob. I kept having this idea too. Once upon a time, at the end of the freeway, sat a majestic castle. This one I was kind of mad. Don't really know what was going on here, but I kind of like it. That shimmer and that glimmer and that sparkle and that shine and ampersand, the most glittery of the symbols. Yeah, I really like the ampersand. I was obsessed with the word gumption for a while, so I was writing that a bunch. Ducks and birds, and the ampersand, of course. Tiny everything. Then my boyfriend gave me flowers, so I wanted to draw them, so I have them forever. Really like this drawing, and I also really like this one. One day I decided tulips would be my favorite flower, and now my love brings me tulips, and tulips are my favorite flower even more. This one I was thinking about like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Books and stuff. I love books and stuff. I love you. Castle Patrol. Yeah, like I was really obsessed with the car castle combo. Ignore that. Ignore that maybe. That paper sounds so nice. I like this one. Musical theater. Yearning for pizzazz. This is a castle car. I did a little painting of this. And yeah, that's everything in this sketchbook. I haven't really found any other type of notebook that's the same format, maybe designed a little bit prettier or made for adults. So if you've seen anything, let me know. So yeah, this sketchbook is pretty great. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.